probably.
So he's going to eat a cookie and pronounce Hebrew all at the same time. And that's okay.
Some of those ghettos.
Yeah. Is he choking or pronouncing Hebrew?
That choking really is a ghetto because Olive and I are.
All right, give it a shot and let's see what it sounds like.
All right.
Beret. Shait. Bara.
It's really, you're pretty close. It's really Barashit, really. It's quiescent aleph there, right? And what you have to really get your bifocals focused on that vowel letter under the sheen, because there's an accent there that makes it look different than what it is. But that's just a Hirik right there.
Hey, you're right. All right. Bara. Elohim. Tate. Hashemayim. Na'at.
All right, except the accent's on the aleph symbol, the syllables there. Haaretz. Yeah, that was really good. All right, good. Who wants to tackle now? As you're going through that, right? You're asking yourself, could I have done that? Right? And of course, the answer is, why, sure. So who wants to try number 2? Verse number 2. Okay, Cyrus. All right. And notice there the conjunction comes first, and then there's an article stuck on there. We know the word aretz, right? We got a ha on there. Now the ha has a comma. Why does the ha have a comma instead of a patak like it usually does? Osagaro couldn't take the dagish, so we have a lengthening to compensate. Then we have the va on the front of that. See how you can just pile stuff up on these words? All right, go ahead.
Right.
Ha-yata.
Right. Okay. Tohu.
Vavohu. Vachoshech. Vachoshech. Alpanay, that's right. Right. Now, see that caret sticking up under that? That's the atnach, and that tells us that we're at the pause spot, or we're at the middle of the sentence. Yeah, the comma, sort of, right? Okay. So, in other words, that's going to be a complete clause right there, right? And the earth was formless and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And, see, so that can help you with translation sometime.
Can we keep going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, actually, now that you mention it, maybe we should have a volunteer. Okay, Sean.
Okay. Good question.
It's kind of exciting. It's exciting when you see these things, because in this next word we get the furtive pata. So you think they're just making stuff up in these grammars? They're not. It's really in here, right? The furtive pata.
All right, I see. I guess it was the wrong spot, huh?
Yeah.
Saroa.
All right, now that's a vav, right? That the vav conjunction.
Sharua. That's a shurik, right?
No.
I have a vav.
No, it's a vav with a shavah, so va.
Varoa.
Okay. Now, but the next one, I'm sorry, the word starts with a vav with a shurik, but after the resh is a shurik, right? Oh man, I said that all wrong. The word starts with a vav with a shavah, but after the resh there's a shurik. How can you say a whole sentence with words that mean nothing in it? Varuach. Ruach. That's the word for spirit, isn't it? So varuach. The spirit. Now we say the spirit, but there's no article here, is there? So it's the spirit, but they don't need an article for the spirit here. Well, and a wind. I guess you could almost hear some scholar trying to write a paper saying it's just the wind over the face.
I'll write that paper while you guys write here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's a hurricane.
So then the olive word there, or the. Elohim. Merahepta.
Uh-huh.
And then Al.
Penay.
Mm-hmm. Why is it so hard to read? Then Hemayim.
Yeah, well, Hamayim.
The water.
There you go, Hamayim.
Okay, so can I want this one up and pass the buck?
Yeah. Okay, of course that means, and the Spirit of God hovered on the face of the water.
Oh, we know the word spirit. Where's that? Oh, Ruach. That's it.
Ruach. Yeah, that's a vocabulary word. You got some vocabulary words in here, don't you?
Spirit when breathing.
All right, who wants to try verse 3? By the way, we're doing a lot better on our pronouncing now, aren't we? Yeah.
I remember that verse.
Well, somebody should jump on verse 3. It's short. That's right. Vayomer. Elohim. Yahai. Yehi. Or. There's our pause, right? There you go. Very good. Vayahi. Or. So there are a couple of words in here you see over and over and over 1,000,000 times in Hebrew Bible. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Vayomer, and he said, right? You see that? And then Vayahi, and it came about, and it happened, and it was.
On the Vayahi, doesn't a Shabbat follows a short vowel? Isn't it silent? Usually.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah. I was just trying to think through the rules and think of why I'm pronouncing that Vayahi, but that's sure how I've always pronounced it. Vayahi.
What's the word without the foot? What is it without the conjunction on the front?
Just 2 words over to the right, Yahi, that we just saw.
Could that be why? Because without the conjunction, it's an additional Shabbat.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's always possible that I learned it wrong, but Vaihi could be Vaihi. Might be Vaihi.
was just curious.
All right. And what does that mean? That means, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. All right. Verse 4. Any volunteer?
I'll do it.
Okay.
So we're at verse 4.
Uh-huh.
By
Vayara. But there again, I mean, that's odd because you...
Is a short.
Yeah.
Vayara. So how are you pronouncing it?
Well, I would pronounce it Vayara again. But again, you've got that patak, which is short, coming before it. But you're really going to have two letters like that without any sound. It doesn't make sense to me.
It may just be an exception.
It might be.
Vayara. Now, is that Dagesh forte in the yod? So would that be by? So there's a ya sound at the end of the va. So Vayara.
Yeah.
I guess it's pretty much.
But it's going to it's just going to pretty much go together.
Okay, so Elohim,
Et. Now, when that is joined to the word after it, it's et. When it's by itself, like in verse 1, it's 8. And that's what we saw on the ground.
Okay. So et Hayor.
Ha'or.
Okay. Haor. Kemo.
Tov.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sometimes those are hard to see. That's a tape there.
Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tov.
Vayavdeo.
Oh, because it's a show I was coming out. Okay. Vayavdel, is that what it says?
Vayavdeo.
Vayavdel. Elohim.
Bain.
Haor.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's not beginning with a shirk, is it?
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
But that's the Vav conjunction there, but it just comes out as a shurik in that form.
Okay. So, Uvain?
Uvain. Yeah. Because you don't want to have two V sounds together, Vavain. So it's going to come out as a shurik. Choshek. That's a chet, not a tav there. Okay, very good. So, and God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided between the light and the darkness. So this is an interesting word. Use of tov is an adjective here, isn't it? Kind of a weird predicate. That good. He saw the light. That. So it's just kind of leaving out a lot of stuff, right? That good. So this is a predicate use of the adjective there. That it was good. Now remember the grammar said you're going to use a present tense for predicate adjectives. It is good. The man is good. Unless the context is using a past tense verb, and this one does. God saw the light. that it was good. Let's see. All right.
Now, does the final cop always have the 2 dots? I was always taught that.
Yeah.
So when you write your final form, you should have the 2 dots.
You know, if you're writing out the alphabet, you know, that's not a big deal because the final cop's the final cop. But in composition, it's always going to have this shallah. All right then, 5. Who wants to tackle at least part of 5 there? Yeah, Vayikra, very good. Vayikra, actually.
Elohim. Lahore.
Yep.
Yom. Horek.
Hoshek.
Hoshek. I know that. Kara.
Layala, right? Layala. Yeah. Layala.
Again, that Shabbat would be silent, right?
Well, according to the rules, yeah. So, Vayahi, I don't know, I've always pronounced it Vayahi.
Yeah, we've been pronouncing it Vayahi. Vayahi, Arab. Again, Vayahi. Poker. Yom.
Yes? Echad.
Echar.
That's a dalet. Echad.
Okay.
Tim, that's something you could ask your modern Hebrew teacher about see what the modern Hebrew pronunciation for Vayahi or Vayahi is, because that's going to be a word used a lot in modern Hebrew, obviously. And this happened, it came about, and blah blah blah. It'd be interesting to know how modern Hebrew pronounces it, because it's probably the same. And we're going for a modern Hebrew pronunciation anyway, so it'd be interesting to know. All right, very good. Verse 5, and God called the light Yom, and the darkness. And look, now notice how there's a lamed on there, right? That preposition to or toward. It almost gives you the idea that God called toward the darkness, but really it marks out that as an object somehow, right? God called the darkness. I'm losing my train of thought here, or my place in the line. God called the light Yom, and the darkness He called Layla, and it came about evening, and it came about morning. Now that's a pretty bad English translation, right? But that's literal. Yom Echad, day 1. Remember we talked about Lila? Did you ever look up Lila in your lexicon? Or Lilith, I mean? Yeah, that's what I mean. Did you look up Lilith? How many of you looked up Lilith? Do you have your lexicon with you? Remember who Lilith was? Fraser's wife.
Whose wife?
Fraser on Cheers.
You said it was from Hebrew mythology. I sort of remembered that Moses essentially one of Adam's wives. Hebrew mythology, is that correct?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's what they said. What I heard as well.
Huh?
That's what I heard as well. That's what the Lilith is.
It's on page, or do you want me to give the page?
Yeah. Well, let's look for it for a while. Get into Lameds. Look up around Lila. Lilith, if you find Lila, then down after the entry for Lila, you find Lilith.
Could you imagine being your daughter and then finding that out later? Oops. Sorry, Annie. All my life, I want to know what does my name mean?
I bet money that there were Jewish writers on the Cheers show that thought of naming her Lilith.
You know those little Christian bookmarks that have your name and say a little verse on it?
Yeah, you never see Lilith in those.
That'd be brutal.
So it's on page 539 on the left-hand column. It's the first entry in the left-hand column, but it's about 2/3 of the way down the column. It's a feminine noun. Lilith. See, it's the name of a female night demon haunting desolate Edom, or a night hag.
While we're here, what's a lot of this mean as we look?
Well, that's a great question. And
I mean, there's a lot of there's the.
I was thinking about dealing with some of this tonight. There is actually, I think in the grammar, when you get along, it kind of there's a part about the lexicon. It might be right at the end of it, and that's kind of late. Yeah, you have. Well, you know, some of these abbreviations, you just have to look up. But I think that's Milton, the author Milton, I suppose, used it as a night hag. I don't know what the CHE means. You have to look it up in the beginning of the thing. You'll find an abbreviation. The little dagger on the front of Lilith is interesting because that means that you're going to get all of the uses of that word here in this entry in the Bible. So, in other words, it looks to me like Isaiah 34:14 is the only occurrence of this in the Bible. Then you have the entry, the lexical entry. Then you have noun feminine. Look down some more, and you see the next entry, lean. That V period means C, lamed, vav, noon. And you see in the middle of words a lot of times yods and vavs switching places, exchanging with one another. Right, so that's what you have here. But that V means C right there. That's the important point I want to make there. So if you see an entry, I'm in the entry below Lilith, and it says lean, V period. That V period means C, this other entry. And then after that, you see leets, another dagger, meaning it's going to give you every every reference where that occurs in the Bible, in Hebrew Bible, right? And VB period obviously means verb, right? And then it gives you the English definition. Now, usually, especially with verbs and stuff, in the parentheses, it's going to give you the etymological information. All right? And so, it's going to talk about Arabic and Phoenician and all kinds of stuff like that, right? And then after that, now it's giving me different verb stems, which we haven't learned yet, but cal, hifil, polel, hitpile, different verb stems. And it's giving me the different meanings of those verb stems, right? And different tenses and all that kind of stuff. Let's look at Lila over on the page to the left, since we know that vocabulary, right? Lila, this is interesting. And then Lyle. Now this is telling me noun masculine, which is really kind of weird. This is an odd deal because it's giving me two entries for Lila and Lyle, and it's telling me noun masculine. So I'm assuming that both of those then would be masculine. Or does that mean that just the Lyle part is masculine? It's kind of ambiguous, isn't it? But it could be that Lila then is a masculine noun with a feminine kind of ending, feminine looking ending. So anyway, it's telling me noun, telling me masculine. It's giving me a reference. It's giving me a reference right there for Lyle. I might believe that noun masculine, that reference just works for Lyle. That means night. And it's giving me some etymological information if I want to look at, the Arabic and Aramaic and all that kind of stuff. And then if you go way down after the parenthesis, in the absolute form, we haven't learned about absolute and construct yet, but the absolute form is going to be the dictionary form. That's what we have, Lyle. It's giving me a bunch of references for it. Then obviously, then you can look down and you can look down at number 1 and get a definition. Light, the opposite of day. Sorry, night, the opposite of day, literally. You can let your eyes scan down until you find a 2, which is on the other page, figuratively. Means shadow of Zion is protection, more often in a gloomy sense of avenging calamity without divine guidance or comfort. So that's how you do it. Now, the thing about the way this dictionary is arranged is that you got to look up the root in here, and then the words that are derived from the root are under it. So that's a little different. So that's why we're getting over here lean instead of just telling us the definition. It's making us go over here to loon to see what the definition is here. Right. So in other words, all of the entries in this are not necessarily in alphabetical order, which sometimes makes it a pain. It makes it useful because you can see what words derive from what words, right? But it makes it a pain to find words sometimes. The dictionary that we'll probably get for next term will be a lot easier to use just for translating, and it's going to have them all in alphabetical order. And it's a much smaller dictionary, and it's a lot faster for translating. But this has got all the big information in it. And you can see that there are a lot of verses and a lot of information, a lot of stuff listed, even for Lila. Now, there's no dagger by Lila like there is Lilith, because you can imagine Lila is used a lot of times in the Bible. So it's not going to give you every reference for Lila here, but it's certainly giving you a ton of them, hasn't it? Right. And when you get to verbs, like if you look at Leets over on page 539, when you get to verbs, look at all the forms of those verbs that it's giving you. So you can tell what the forms are. That's a huge value of this, is it gives you a lot of forms, and there's a pretty good chance that it's going to give you the form that you're looking for. If you see a form and you wonder how to parse it, it's probably going to give you that form here in the dictionary. But there's a lot of looking through fine print to get that, right? If it were easy, everybody would want to be a pastor.
I think I'd rather be a pastor.
That's the way to go, I'm telling you, because you don't have to worry about all this stuff. Just go for it. Huh? Oh, yeah. To be a youth pastor, all you got to do is be able to bring in 2 Happy Meals, pick 2 kids, and see how fast, who can eat it the fastest, and you're good to go. Figure out a spiritual application for that. And that's easy because happy, right? The faster you get with God, the happier you're going to be, and you get a prize at the end. So that's to be a youth pastor, that's a piece of cake. I can only say that because I started my ministry career as a youth pastor. So sort of started. Sorry. I'm only kidding. All right. We're almost done. We're on verse 6, aren't we? All right. Verse 6. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Rakia Batok Hamayim Vayehi Mavdeo Bain Mayim Lamayim. All right, what does that mean? Well, what do you think that first part of that means? And? Very good. Well, that's something, isn't it? And?
As he said.
That's right. Next word. Okay, so, and God said, Yahi. That's right. Let there be Rakia. Now, if you know that, we'll just give you an A for the chorus right off the bat. Huh? Well, it is feminine. It looks like an expanse. Well, no, I don't think it is feminine, actually. I take that back. An expanse. But it does have a furtive potok. That's pretty fun. So God said, let there be an expanse between the waters, right? Hamayim. And let there be Mavdil, a separation between waters and waters, basically. Waters, basically between water to water, literally. Right? All right. Vayas Elohim et Harakia Vayavdeo Bain Hamayim Asher Mitachat Larakia Uvain Hamayim Asher Me'al Larakia Vayehi Cain. And God made the expanse and divided between the waters which are under the expanse and between the waters which are what? Above the expanse, and it was so. Vayehi, it came about, came thus. Came about thus, and it was so. Alright? Vayikra Elohim La Rakia Shemayim Vayehi Erev Vayehi Boker Yom Sheni. God called the expanse what? Heaven. Shemayim. Now that's not Ha-Shemayim. That's just Shemayim. Yeah, and maybe that isn't because it's not the heaven. Right? God called the expanse Shemayim, and it came about evening, and it came about morning, Yom Sheni, day 2. Piece of cake. Well, at least we have an answer book. The New American Standard. Wow. All right, but you're getting better, aren't you? I can see it. I can see it in your eye. Huh? It's right? Feeling better about it? Feeling like you have it more under your belt than you did?
Salto.
Salto. Vallejito. But it was good.
So next week we need 8 and 9 done, or?
I think that's what it says, yeah.